Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this Rotary Club of Gainesville meeting for August 11th, 2020. My name is Tom Collette, your Sergeant at Arms, again, as we officially begin our meeting today. For our guests and visiting Rotarians, please identify yourself in chat. And if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, register your participation by sending an email to info@rotarygainesville.org. I ask now for those of you here in attendance today to please stand as we open with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for those of you present here today at the hotel. Our invocation will be offered by Eric Spivey. I guess we don't have Eric online with us today. Is Dalton on? Let's unmute Dalton Birch and have him give our invocation today. We're blessed to have him on today. Dalton, please take it away.
Oh, gracious God, we pray for so many things, so many times, and yet the real concerns that we have often, we let slip by us. As we gather now as a group of Rotarians, we remember the history of our organization and what it means to face all kinds of difficulties, as well as what it is to win things and to reach the end and right conclusion. We pray that you would guide us this day and keep us close to you and to each other and help us to be truly those who are worthy of the spirit of Rotary. For we pray in the name of your holy Son, and we pray in this spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dalton. Everyone else here at the hotel, you may be seated. Time now to honor and recognize those Rotarians of our club who are enjoying August birthdays. So we'll go ahead and list them now. Patrick Boyes, Carolyn Freeman, Bill Zagel, Charlie Palmer, Doug Thompson, Champ Lozano, Melissa Pisco, Martin Dickinson, John Gregory, Randy Caton, Tammy Prince, Jason Shank, who's here today. Happy birthday, Jason. Eric Jewell, Robert Wigglesworth, Deborah Butler, Susan Spain, and John Haswell. And now we have a special video to pay tribute to our Rotarians with birthdays in the month of August. We lost it? We lost the feed? Well, maybe that voice in the background was telling me to shut up and sing. So let's all sing here as we are here at the hotel in person today. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rotarians. Happy birthday to you, and many more. Next, we will go to announcements. We have one announcement today, and we have an in-person announcement here at the podium. Please welcome Linda Reinhardt.
Slow it down a little bit. Yeah, thanks. All right, guys. Glad to be back. Good to see everybody. We are, just a quick reminder, Undy 500, we are in full swing and we have started getting in some supplies and orders, so please keep them coming. The school board really needs to minimize any unnecessary trips to the nurse if possible, so that we can help them handle some accidents along the way and make the school year a little bit brighter. Everybody will appreciate that. So the links to order from Target and Amazon are in the newsletter, as well as a link if you prefer to do a cash donation, and we'll get that to Kelly Costamo. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Linda. Undy 500, August 23rd. Are you ready? I'm ready. Up next, we turn the meeting over to your president, Matthew Brady.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This absolutely feels weird today. So it's great to see. I told you all that today was going to be a test run. and we are working out kinks. We had a little kink with Charlie's song, but I assure you we'll have that ready to go soon. It's worth the wait. It'll be good. I appreciate again Richard Allen for really making a significant contribution to the club to make this happen in this equipment. The continued support of Joe, Wes, Don Bugus has been here, Tom's been here, and I appreciate all that are here to make this happen. It's not perfect, but it's, you know, I've got a camera out front. There's 2 cameras shooting out to the side. We've got a new computer, a new mixer. We got something set up in the back so that we can make this happen for each and every one. Next week, you'll have the option to be here, or you can continue to stream live, and you'll also be able to interact and ask questions, and that's what's going to be good as an added bonus. As we move to next week, I'm going to be sending out detailed instructions. We're going to, as we come back in, it's going to be tough because we're not sure how our attendance is going to be. We're going to be sending out, asking you to RSVP if you're going to eat or not with a menu. We're going to do more of a box style lunch to keep things as sanitary as possible. We're going to have hand sanitizer. Please bring your mask. We're going to have everything is, you know, per the regulations and guidelines for safe distancing as possible. So just bear with us. There's going to be more communication this week, and we're going to ask you to respond to that and take advantage of being back here together. I assure you that it's great to see each and everyone's eyes, you know, and mask. And I look forward to seeing more as we progress forward. I think there is, okay, never mind. Before I get to, Jenny's going to introduce her speaker today. I did want to announce what I consider some historical, you know, news in the world of Rotary. So last week, the 2022 and 2023 Rotary International president was announced. And I say historical because this will be the first female to hold that office in the 115-year history of Rotary. Yes, round of applause. Jennifer Jones, Rotary Club of Windsor, Roseland, Ontario, Canada, will be in 3 years. So we've got Holgernak this year, Shekhar Mehta from India next year with David in his year. And then for Greg Young's year will be Jennifer Jones in a historical year. So I wanted to pass that information along. And so for now, I am going to turn the podium and mic over to Ms. Jenny Van Hart to introduce today's speaker. Thank you.
Such excitement, such applause. I first experienced Chris Wells in Hamburg on the big stage of 2019 Rotary International Convention, and he caused a stir, serious excitement, and people left knowing exactly what they had to do. They had to do do-goodery. My daughters are still talking about him a year later. Chris founded the Market Harborough Rotoractor Club and has represented Rotoractors in his district with Rotary International as Rotary embraces the power of Rotoractors. They are our future. I'm so excited to bring you Chris all the way from Leicestershire, England, to inspire you to do some do-goodery today, tomorrow, and forever. Over to you, Chris.
Hello. Oh no, I'm sharing the wrong screen. Okay, hello. First of all, can I just get a thumbs up on the reactions on this thing? I can see the thumbs up on the tiny little screen of the live cam. Yeah, thumbs up. Okay, that's cool. Thank you, Mia. Yeah, anyone, if you want to do like the kinds of reactions on the on Zoom itself, I can just like see what's going on. Right, let me just share. Can you see my PowerPoint that says Rotaract Chris Wells? Can anyone see that? Yep, thumbs up, fantastic. It's weird not being able to hear anyone. Okay, I'm just gonna stretch my window out so I can see everybody. Right, hi everybody, I'm Chris Wells. And this is still really weird. I tell you what, I've done a few of these now, but this is possibly the biggest audience that I've seen, but I'm still just talking to absolutely no one in my bedroom. And it's a bit peculiar, but as long as it's okay. Can we all hear and we see the PowerPoint? Okay, just one last thumbs up just so I can be super sure. Brilliant. Thank you, Robert. I can see you there. And Maureen, thank you so much. Okay, right. Okay. First of all, I just want to start this off with a disclaimer. This is a story told from the perspective of me in District 1070 in the UK. I always put this at the start of things because that way, if anyone goes, well, we wouldn't do that here and like that, I'm like, well, put a disclaimer at the start so you can't be mad at me, please. Okay. But who is me? Well, as has been said, this is always an awkward slide to transition to when I get nicely introduced. But hello, my name is Christopher Wells from Market Harbour Rotoractor in the UK. And I was up until literally last month, the DRR of District 1070, which is right slap bang in the centre of England. And I want to tell you kind of my story through Rotaract, which I've told a few times, but like shift it up a bit. But first, I want you to now imagine a time where televisions looked like this. Okay, and the year of that is 2015, where televisions look like this and I look like this. I'm really sorry for this like graphic image of my face, but you know, this is 2015, Chris Wells, very tricky time. And I was 25 at the time. And I was essentially kind of genuinely going through a real kind of time of angst and difficulty. And it comes from like, you get that to-do list, you know, of life. And like you finish your education, yep, did that, got my degree, yes, amazing. Get a job, yep, got a job using my degree in media production, which my goodness, in the time of COVID and needing to be able to speak on webcams, very helpful. Anyway, got that, got my job. Oh my goodness, brilliant, amazing. And then something happens after you get your job, and then you're happy. And then I don't know what happens then, and then I didn't know what happens then, which genuinely for me at the time was a profoundly stressful thing. It was like, what is going on? What do we do? But luckily for me, I was introduced to this man, Jim Davis, who is a Rotarian. And I, upon meeting him, said the first thing that everyone always says when they first meet a Rotarian, what's Rotary? And he was like, well, Rotary, isn't Rotary just like a load of old people that meet in like restaurants and just fill them up for the day and they ring a bell? Yeah, but also, you know, and he explained to me all the amazing stuff, you know what you do. And he was like, you know what, Chris, you should start a Rotaract club. And I was like, well, what's a Rotaract club? I don't really speak like this when I'm 25, but I'm going to keep going because I have no reaction or anything to go off. Anyway, I was like, you should start a Rotaract club. And I was like, well, what on earth is a Rotaract club? Is that a load of younger people that take up space in the restaurant? And he says, you know what, Chris, you should go and visit. That is my favorite visual joke. And even when I do it live on stage, nobody laughs, but it's just for me. Anyway, I went to this club and there was only two clubs in the district at the time. And I went in and there were two people there. And one of them, they all looked a bit older than 30. I thought this was friend of 30s. And literally we sat down and he was like, right, we're going to have a curry night next week. And that's it really. Do you want to join? And I was like, not really. Half convinced I was probably going to get murdered as soon as I walked out. So then luckily I did and it was all okay. And I went back to Jim and I said, well, what on earth is Rotaract? What is it? And Jim said the immortal words, it's whatever you want it to be. And so on Friday, the 20th of November, 2015, I basically grabbed a load of friends, was like, hey, come over and we'll do some stuff. And we all met up and here we are. And this was essentially our first Rotaract meeting. And what we did, we all started meeting up and the place that I worked at the time, a school, were doing a tinned food drive, canned foods. So literally, I got everyone to bring a bag of canned foods. We turned it into a cute little hamper. And all of a sudden, we had put some good out to the world. That was it. And that was all of us there on the first ever meeting. And then upon doing that, we started doing other little things. We started doing little charity quizzes, you know, just charity quizzes, I think in America, pub trivia in America that you call, or whatever, you know, that kind of thing. I'm a shoot, yeah. And like, you know, doing all the questions, I got to be quizmaster, which was always fun. And, you know, we raised a bit of money and we just raised it for different charitable causes each time. And then we kept doing them and doing them and doing them and doing them. And these became our tent poles because a thing that I learned from being in other clubs at university was that you need to have something to meet about. You just meet up, like two people are like, yeah, we might go for curry next week. You're not really moving anywhere. So I found that even if nothing else was going on, we always had something to discuss. one of the upcoming quizzes. And that became our tent poles and stuff that we worked on from 2015, still going now. More on that later. So we started doing even more things. We started doing sponsored head shows. We started helping out at local events, started running even helping out at local farm parks that needed to set up like entertainment areas for children, and putting up massive live comedy events. And I realized upon doing all of this, a word that Jenny has said and that I love and I talk about all the time, I realized what we were doing was do-goodery. Because we do good. That's it. That's all we do. All of the bureaucracy and all of the, oh, do we do this? What's this? Oh, what's it? It doesn't matter. We're doing good. If my goal every time we have a Rotaract meeting is we meet up, what are we going to do for do-goodery? What are we going to do good with? And I realized even more so that perfectly answers the question of what is Rotaract. That's what we do. That is our sole goal. We meet up, put more good in the world than there was before. And now I want to take you back to a time where televisions looked like this, the 1980s and 1990s, where televisions looked like this and people looked like this. Once again, I'm so sorry. Well, at the time, across Rotaract in Great Britain and Ireland, there were approximately 25,000 Rotaractors across the UK. Fast forward to 25-year-old Chris in 2015, and there was just approximately 1,000 that we know. And you can look at those two numbers and go, why? What happened? What went on? And there's 100 different reasons. One of my personal conspiracy theories is just the fact that as Rotary was getting older and older and older, so was Rotaract, but then Rotary was kind of riding strong at that point, and they didn't, a lot of clubs, not all clubs, disclaimer, me, from my perspective, a lot of clubs, they didn't need younger people to come in and join. So what happened was they just started, you know, aging up. The average age of some clubs now, I know in America it's slightly lower, but across like places in England, the average age of some Rotary clubs is 70. So, you know, if you get to a point where like you're in Rotaract, you hit 30, you're starting to have a wife and kids and you're settling down, and like, do you join the Rotary club with just like a load of, you know, 70-year-olds, which I admit is a good time, but also for people that don't really know what Rotaract is, what Rotary is, it's not particularly inviting for that. And I think there's many other reasons that I will happily discuss in any kind of scenario, but not in this talk. So now let's fast forward to 2019, where televisions look like this. And all of a sudden our district had gone from just having like I said, 2 or 3 clubs with just literally a handful of people, to this being our district now. Going out, working together, helping out all over the district, working with Rotary clubs, working with each other. We were all working with each other, raising thousands of pounds for charity, doing do-goodery. And I never forget, I went to the charter of one of the clubs in Northampton, and I remember someone saying, it's really nice being around people with the same values. And that's kind of the beautiful selling point of what Rotary and Rotaract is, isn't it? Being around people that share that. And what are those values? Of course, it's do-goodery. And that's the thing, is that I personally am terrified of people. I'm still kind of terrified on this webcam now. If you could find, in my head, I'm like, if you could find a way to like knock me out and take my money over webcam, I'm sure someone would find a way. But like, you know, even when and I'm not good with crowds, I'm not, you know, I like meeting new people, but I just get quite anxious. But every time at a Rotary event I go to and meet Rotarians, because those values of do-goodery are there, it's just so wonderful to have that kind of knowledge that like, yeah, there's a couple of like morons and a couple of like poo heads, but they're few and far between. You get a group of 100 people together, you know, there's probably going to be a few bad eggs, but in a room of Rotarians, almost none, as well you all know. It's wonderful. It's wonderful to find that. Where else can you find that? And also, on the shareness of those values, we're on this together. We're on the same bike. We're moving towards the same place. Do-goodery town, do-goodery stand. United States of do-goodery. And that's what we're in this together for. And I think it's important to remember that. And actually our successes that we have done so far over literally just the last 5 years has come from working really closely with Rotarians, working with that. And Jim Davis in his amazing wisdom and managerial words, he created a thing, what he called contemporary Rotaract. A nice term there. And one of the big differences we had to what we had back then, we now have ambassadors, which were our links between Rotaract and Rotary, or as I like to call them, ambassador do-gooders. These are people who we know if we need to do something, we need to do some do-goodery. Those are the people that we can just call up and get our help with straight away, creating that infrastructure, helping each other and working in the same values. If you read that wrong, as I know some of you may already have, there could also be ambassador dog-gooders. And it kind of still fits under this. You look, you know, the amount of times that like Rotaractors may, like I said, getting married, wife and kids, working insane jobs, things may not have the time for do-goodery but want to get involved, while Rotarians, especially the older Rotarians, may have a bit more time to organize and get loads of stuff kind of set up, but, you know, need people who can actually stand up for longer periods of time, and all things like this, and just working together. And that's what it became. That's how we started working together. We help out at some of the big Rotary events now that we would have never been able to dream of even setting up, or to be honest, let's be honest, some of us wouldn't even know how to set up. But now we can share that wisdom and work together for something greater than the sum of its parts. And these are just some of the charities over 2017 and 2019 who have really kind of gained from this. One in particular I want to just quickly talk about is Different Strokes, which is for younger victims of stroke, which is people of working age. So normally people, you know, under the age of 60. And a lot of people who suffer from stroke, they can be disabled and really struggle to kind of even leave the house or really kind of communicate, and then start isolating themselves. We found out that there wasn't a local meeting for these kinds of things. So we started setting up, past our tent poles, a regular piece of service, a regular thing that we can own and maintain and do ourselves. This was all started via Rotary and talking it through us. It's now completely owned by us at Rotary. And we started doing it, and the do-goodery started happening there. The hashtag do-goodery right there. Rooms that we needed, health and safety, all covered and helped and advised by Rotarians. I talk about it in my Hamburg speech. When we were in Hamburg, a fair few people were actually not able to attend the meeting or help run the meetings. But luckily, some Rotarians were. So we worked together, and that's do-goodery achieved. And it works both ways as well. Not kind of saying for anyone here, but I know there are some people who don't do technology and are a bit scared of it. You know, maybe if only there were younger people who possibly were more used to the TikToks. Although you can't use that in America now, so I need a different joke. But you know what I mean. We need this kind of communication to work together, to gain things together. Another one of the stories I just want to quickly talk about is on the bottom here, what we call, this is the Market Harbour Carnival Committee. In Market Harbour, we have this carnival, and normally it's a 3,000–4,000 people event put in a nice field right in the centre of town, because we have a big field, like a little park. Goes really well. And over the years, it kind of started falling apart and got smaller and smaller. And then a group of younger entrepreneurs, you know, mid-30s, 40s, all just started going, right, we want to make this bigger and better like in our childhoods. And they did, and they worked together, and it was going amazing. And we were like, we need to get some people involved to help out with. Do we know any local volunteer groups? And they heard about Rotaract. Just think, a couple of years ago, I didn't even know what Rotaract was. Nobody in the town did. Now people started hearing about us. And how did they hear about us? They heard about us through our quizzes. In fact, they heard that our quizzes were so good, they asked us to do the official Market Harbour Carnival quiz, which was originally done by the local radio station. So that's my proudest victory, is just stealing the greater quizzes from them. And because they heard about us in our constant service, that was what it was. And the original carnivals became these massive, amazing events, with me like hammering signs, with one of our presidents doing a squat, and Jake, one of our secretary, doing some pole dancing. And that to me is do-goodery achieved. We're going out, all of a sudden our reputation is going up through that constant service. And it works as well personally, because not only after I'd gone through my existential angst back in that day, a couple of years ago, I started working full-time teaching, and it was one of the hardest jobs I ever had. And to be honest, I was going through some personal troubles as well. And I pretty much couldn't take it anymore. I was working 6 days a week, 12 plus hours every day. And I was just, my mental health was unable to handle it. And I got to a point where I got signed off work for 4 months with, it was like 4 infections and the flu, and probably stress as well, let's be honest. And when I came back, I couldn't handle it. And when you work in a school, you have to give a term's worth of notice. You have to give 3-4 months worth of notice. And I was panicking. And I got to a point where I couldn't handle it anymore. I just got in a flat. I was paying bills. And I quit my job. And I don't know, and I know some of you may have gone through this as well, where you quit a job without a safety net, without anything else, that panic that goes in, go, what am I going to do? You know how hard work is. And also, like, going a career path that no longer feels viable, what do you do? And luckily for me, to come back to this is actually a photo back in the day of Rotaract. And this guy is Alan Dukes, who actually knew this guy. And this guy is this guy, Andy Gilbert, who works for a company called Go Mad Thinking, who back in the day, Andy was chair of Rotaract in the 80s, in the late 80s, early 90s. And now he runs this own kind of management consultancy company and training and all things like that. And they have a cat. And there was an office cat, which if you ever have a stressful day, even though the little bugger will bite you, he is still very helpful at relieving that stress. And all of a sudden I was working a job with a team of 14 people that never advertised, linking in those connections. That would have never happened had I not been for a Rotarian and networking and developing that. And also he paid it forward. Those two there are members of our Rotary Club that he's given free training to. So all of a sudden he's passing it on. He shares those values of do-goodery. Even though he hadn't been involved with Rotary or Rotaract in like decades, he still wanted to pay it forward. He still wanted to do good. So 1980s, 1990s, 25,000 to 1,000 to the year 2030, where televisions probably look like this. Over 30,000 Rotaractors. But Chris, you're crazy. What you're doing? You're under arrest for lying. No, don't. I know. But one of the things that we're doing now is we're working with local youth organizations, linking in volunteer police cadets, other youth organizations. But one I want to talk in very quickly is the National Citizen Service, which in England is basically a time where it's a government program where students pay a very small amount to go away for 3 weeks. And the idea is they donate some of their summer holidays to developing themselves. First week is like rubber dinghy rapids and, raft building, rock climbing, all of that. Then they go through like business training. They learn interview techniques. And these are for young people aged between 15 and 18. And then they go through and they run a charitable project. And they try and raise some money, and they have aims and goals, and they get supported on that. And then after the end of the 3 weeks, that's it. They finish. Well done, you finished National Citizen Service. But now we've linked up with them and are working with them very closely. So all of those young people are starting to hear about Rotaract, starting to hear, oh, you like doing that do-goodery. Maybe you could get involved. The amount of young people that go through this program every year is just over 100,000 people, 100,000 young people a year that are all of a sudden going to be doing a charitable event, loving it, feeling good, and now are going to hear about Rotaract. If just 10% a year decide they want to join Rotaract, all of a sudden, bam, 10,000 new Rotaract members, 10,000 new Rotaract members growing every year. And as we said, we have our ambassadors now. So imagine you're a Rotary Club, Rotary Club's just wanting to set up a club, bam. Here is a list of names and numbers of people who want to do goodery. And we can start growing the club like that. So what is Rotaract? And even what is Rotary? We all know what it is now. It's do-goodery, which normally this is the point where everyone's like screaming do-goodery. Is this going okay? Can I see some thumbs or thumbs up or down? Can everyone hear me? This is all making sense. I'm not sounding like a crazy person. Thank you so much, Scott. John, I love the double thumbs up. That made me feel a lot better. Maureen, I did see your nod, so that's okay. So I want to go to the last letter of do-goodery now. And why? Why are you on about this, Chris? Why do you talk about this so much? What is all this? Well, one, the world is a bit of a trash fire at the minute. And it kind of feels like it. I literally have to take breaks from the news now because I literally can't handle it. It's just too much. And when you start going to Rotary events and you start hearing the good that people are still doing, it's like a godsend compared to just reading the news and hearing about people being so awful to each other. All this awful stuff. And it's just so, we need more of this. We need more reminders that the world isn't a trash fire. We need more reminders that actually we can help each other. People do want to do good. Number two, I don't know if you've heard in the news, there's been a lot of talk about loneliness linked with millennials, rises in depression, rises in different things because people moving away, isolating themselves, struggling, which, let's be honest, sounds a bit familiar to people like me as well. If I can give anything, it's to say that, you know, for Rotarians especially, look at it as a service project. Look at it as a way of not only helping grow numbers and making the world a better place, but helping young people who move house or go away and don't feel like they don't have anyone to find more ways of meeting people. It's ironic in a time of amazing social media and constant connection that people are feeling more and more pushed away and alone. Reason number three, in 2030, especially in a lot of older Rotary clubs, who's going to be doing service? Who's going to be? If you, like I said, the average age of a lot of clubs is 70. So, you know, 10 years away, up that again, up it again. Who's going to be doing it unless we start getting more and more people believing in do-goodery? Because we're in this together. We're on the same bike. If one of the people falls off, both fall over. And we're heading to the same place. We want to make it a better place. Just as a quick side note, I want to talk about a little thing that we do at Market Harbour Rotary. Market Harbour Rotary do this. They have a thing called the Fernie Cup, which they've done for literally decades. And all it is, they meet up in a pub and they play Jenga and darts and Skittles and other weird little games. And they started inviting us Rotoractors in. And we started coming and playing. And where else do you see people of this generation who are complete strangers to each other hanging out? Just hanging out and playing games. That's not family, not friends of family, and not work. These are people that have just met up in a bar, in a pub, played some board games, got on, meeting people. Where else do we get that? Honestly, it's amazing. Plus, we normally win every time. So that's also a really good feeling for us Rotoractors. And as I go back to like the first Rotarian I ever met, Jim Davis, a man I can genuinely say now is one of my friends. If I struggle with something, I ring up and ask him and he helps me. Once again, how else could I have met a man like that? How else could I have met, you know, meet all you guys? Talking to you in Florida, how crazy is that? Like, how else do we do this? Normally I'd just be sat on my own in my pants playing video games. Underwear playing video games. It's funnier if I say underwear. If I say pants, like, of course you wear pants. Anyway. And also, one of my favorite images from the past couple of years is this one. This is a Rotarian and a Rotoractor scaling a building. I forgot what it's called and I forgot how high it was. So let's just say it's taller than the Empire State Building. It definitely is. But it's a really tall build doing some amazing stuff, raising thousands of pounds for charity. People are two different generations who wouldn't have met in any other circumstance. By the way, the guy on the left is actually the guy on the left in this photo, Alan Jukes. A man who has just stayed through all this. And once again, another person I could say is my friend, the man who basically connected me to get my job. Forever grateful for that. And it all comes back to do-goodery. That's what we're here for. That's what we're doing. And this was the kind of message and stuff I was talking about in Hamburg. On a stage in front of over 10,000 people. And it was one of the most mind-blowing experiences I ever had. So many people wanted to get involved. So many people wanted to know more and help and do all this stuff because I wasn't just in a room full of thousands of people. I was in a room full of thousands of Rotarians, people who do stuff, people who believe in do-goodery. And the thing to remember as well, this is me doing that in 2019. 3 years ago, that's me and my two clones in 2016. In 2016, I had 5 minutes to talk at the local district conference. And Alan Jukes had been involved in trying to grow Rotaract, you know, for years. And so he said what he used to do was he used to go to these conferences and count how many times Rotaract was mentioned. 2015, 2014, he says they were never mentioned once. Compare that to now. Compare that to the fact that I'm being asked to speak to you guys today. Compare that to the fact that, like, yeah, all of these speaking opportunities, all of this stuff going on. So when you think, oh no, it's impossible, oh no, it's going to take too much time, it's not. That is only 3 years up to now. And not only that, it grows and people are always doing this amazing stuff. Here was a tweet message I got from Chilliwack. I'm going to try and pronounce that correctly. Normally I'm on stage and someone can pronounce it. Chilliwack, there, up in Canada. They messaged me and they actually, I just need to make sure my sound is on, which I'm now worried it's not. So give me a second. Come on. Right. Okay. And then I'm normally way more professional than this, I promise. Right. Let's just pretend that didn't happen and I was already prepared. Do you know what, Rotary? Oh my God, they wrote me and they sent me this video. And I love it. Do-goodery. It's what we do in Rotary. And that's all it is. That's what we need to remember here. And I was going out and sharing this story, but then I don't know if you've heard about this virus thing going on. So how on earth are we supposed to do do-goodery in this? Well, as well you all know, we don't have all the fancy technology and the amazing stuff. We just started meeting up on Zoom. And we kept up the do-goodery. And in fact, to the point where our quizzes, like I said, that we were doing, our regular things, we started doing them online. And we started using every connection that we had. Instead of just doing a quiz over Zoom and me reading it, it's live streamed over YouTube with live chat. I have interactive quiz sheets so people can fill out all their answers, and I can mark everyone's stuff in real time and talk out and raise money like that. And this is using all of the connections I had in Rotaract and Rotary, and using this to kind of adapt and create these new things. And these quizzes go very well. People seem to enjoy them. And here, just in case anyone's wondering what my current setup is as well, this is what the setup is. So this is, I've literally got my laptop on a chair on a stool, so it's at the right height. It's like, and so even now, in a time of COVID and in a time of people being unable to leave and being unable to go out and do anything, we're still going out to create do-goodery. We're still going out and doing more things. Our different strokes meeting, we're still having them every week, because to be a lot of people that have been through strokes and are struggling even more now because they're normally immunocompromised. So we're doing them every week over Zoom, and they're actually finding it profoundly helpful. So it's just the do-goodery keeps on going. You find a way and you adapt, and we keep going. And that is everything I have to say that is written and planned in PowerPoint. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chris. For those of you online, if you'd like to ask a question to Chris, type them into the chat box. I'm up here at the podium checking the chat box. And we have Don Bugos out in the crowd with a wireless mic. If some of us who are assembled here at the hotel this afternoon would like to ask a question, please give us your name and then your question.
Hey, it's Mary Kate Walker. I don't have a question. I just want to let you know that I saw you at Pets in March, and you are crazy. And I really enjoy your talk, and I've been involved with the Rotaracts, and they're a great group of people. Thank you so much for what
Thank
you do.
Thank you very much, Marion. That's brilliant. Thank you.
Don't be bashful out there. Raise your hand if you have a question. I think Wes has one. He does. He has one. Go see him. We got you. You're pinned down. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, Tom, you switch the cameras up there just so everyone can see what we're going to be doing. I don't have a question. I just accidentally raised my hand. Oh, Jason has a question.
Not a question, but thank you very much. It was a great presentation and brings us back down to reality on do-goodery and what we can do currently now in these times and moving forward. So very awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Back in the back we go. We have another question for you, Chris.
Hi, Chris. Richard Allen. We've got some pretty active Rotaract clubs here in Gainesville, but I know a lot of other countries where there's a lot of Rotary clubs, and we have contacts to those Rotary clubs around the world, and there aren't as many Rotaract clubs in those areas. Is there some online version of what you do that you think local younger people in those cities might be able to connect with and go, yeah, I'm inspired. I'd like to start a Rotaract club. Is there, could you provide us with a few links that you think would be helpful in getting people inspired to join Rotaract and actually create a club in areas where there aren't one?
So it's funny you say that, actually. I've been talking with, I forgot the guy's name. I've been talking to this guy who's basically been looking at actually doing a very similar thing for Rotary as well, where you just go on a website and you go, blah, 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 and then it's like, right, I want to start a club. And it gives you a connection with someone, with a DG or a DRR or an AG to kind of really help to guide people into that. Because I think you're right. One of the things that I hate, one of the quotes that everyone always talks about Rotary is that Rotary is the worst kept secret. And I hate it, and it drives me mad because it's like, it shouldn't be a secret. Everyone should just know about it. And I think it's such a morbous, amazing thing that like, it's sometimes quite hard to really explain what a Rotary club is and explain the stuff and things you can do. And I think you're right. I think we need pretty much just a website that someone can just go, and then know what it is, want to get involved and want to join in. Because at the minute, I think what we do is just, we have Facebook pages and other kinds of ways of communicating and people writing. But I think I'm basically saying, I don't know one yet, but I know for a fact that a lot of people are working on some stuff, and I've been involved in a couple of meetings. Because there's also been a couple of clubs, even in England, where they've set up e-clubs, like national e-clubs. So there is a national Rotaract e-club where just anyone can join in, and they're encouraged, oh yeah, just log on to Zoom, doesn't matter where you are, and come in and join in our meetings. So they've been going very well. And that's only been a new thing literally over the past 4 or 5 months. So I think with the rise of that and the rise of other kinds of areas, I think it's definitely something that we need to have.
Chris, when you're not involved with all this do-goodery, what are your interests and hobbies? Who's your favorite football team over there?
I'm a disappointment to a lot of people. I don't really follow football. Funnily enough, and Andy Gilbert, the man on there, he when I went to my interview, because it was like, it was for a job that didn't exist. It was just like, wanted to meet me and heard I did Rotaract, do all that. And literally the first question after, so Chris, what football team do you support? And I was like, uh-oh. And as soon as I was like, oh, I don't really follow it, I could see the disappointment in his eyes. He was just like, oh. You want to know the worst way to start a job interview? But no, I don't follow sports. I'm obviously a massive nerd when it comes to filmmaking and photography. So I do a lot of bits like that. That's mainly what I do, and trying to travel and talk to as many people and grow Rotaract and Rotary and kind of spread this, because I think we need it a lot. So that's pretty much it, to be honest.
You mentioned photography and filmmaking. What's the most interesting subject you've either filmed or photographed?
That's a fantastic question. The best thing I ever did, genuinely, I wish I could show, if I rotate. That's it, never mind. So when I was, just before I got involved with Rotaract, actually, one of my ways of dealing with my existential angst going traveling, And I got in America, they call it an Interrail pass, a Eurail pass, or something like that, where you get to travel on the train around Europe. And it was the first time I went around Europe on my own. And I took loads of like photos of places and people around like that. And that was probably the most rewarding because I've got these amazing photos that look cool. But to be honest, my favorite thing is take photos of people. I just love photos of dogs and cats. It just makes them look stupid. That's, to be honest, my most fascinating and enjoyable part.
Okay, Chris, our next question for you comes from a virtual in our chat from Dana Miller. What can older Rotarians offer Rotaract members?
Yeah, I can see the thing as well. Like in terms of like not sure how to relate, like you don't need, once again, I don't do football. Like when I was talking to my thing about football, we couldn't relate on that, but we related on sharing the values being stuff like do-goodery. And it's like a lot of people, even during COVID, there's that beautiful Mr. Rogers line, I think, right? Like when there's times of strife, look for the helpers. And I think a lot of Rotaractors, that's what they want. That's what they want to see. I think if people see that there are people out there that want to help, want to do things, and like I said, it's that ease of access. And it's like, hey, do you want to come help volunteer at this? Do you want to come and help with this event? Come and help with this. I think that's the kind of things that draws people in. And then once you're in, you know, for example, as I said, with our Different Strokes meeting, how do you put on a group meeting for a load of people? You know, what health and safety, how do you get a room? What insurance do you need? What about this? And we had Rotarians that helped us do all of that. And I think actually, and I put on a massive charity concert, which was really big and fun, but once again, needed health and safety, needed advertising. Who do we talk to get posters? How do you do that? And there's a lot of Rotarians, you know, and I know what you Rotarians are like. You're like, I know a guy, I know someone, I know. And it's using that. And I think it's literally linking on those values of wanting to do better and more. And there's been a big rise of like small groups on Facebook of people going, yeah, we're just going out delivering food to those that are immunocompromised, going out and helping people do that. And I think literally if you go, right, we have a resource, a network of over 1 million people to help you wherever you want to be. Here's what it can do. I think that's what we can offer it. It's just getting that message out there and making it clear for people to know they can get involved with that.
When will we see you on this side of the pond?
Oh, I hope soon. Whenever anyone can have me, I will happily come over as soon as possible. I actually have family that live near Tampa. So when I went to the Pets, that was the first time I went to America since I was like 10 years old. And I still have like my dollar because I've never seen dollars. They're like the green money from films. It was very exciting. So I would absolutely love to come again. So next time I will be posting and sharing photos as all I can, as soon as I can. But as soon as I'm allowed / everyone's allowed outside again, I think. As soon as I'm allowed outside again is my short version of that.
How about a nice hand for Chris, everyone here at the hotel in person this afternoon, and those of you online.
Thank you very much.
A little bit. Yes, Chris, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here virtually and sharing with us today. I can remember back seeing your presentation from Hamburg and thinking, well, that's very entertaining. And I don't say that in a derogatory manner, but I flash forward to Pets this March. And again, very entertaining. I think you had a really good time the night before and was paying the price for that. But at the same time, it was very applicable to me because I was thinking about this upcoming year, and I'm a very simple person, and I was trying to think about what we can do. And then as we evolved through the pandemic, your words really resonated with me in the simplicity of simply just doing good. And so that's been a very key component for our club and for me going into this year. And so the ability to have you zoom in and talk to us today and share has meant a lot to me, and I greatly appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for having me, and always being amazing as you Rotarians always are, no matter where you are from in the world.
I'll tell you, I wanted to steal a few comments in here because, Chris, I was looking in several about your enthusiasm, infectiousness. and challenging. And John Jopling, thanks so much for the message, delightfully delivered. Reminds me of the John Wesley about doing all the good you can, wherever you can, for all the people you can, as long as ever as you can. I thought that was a great message on the chat there and to share with you. I'll also say, very timely, in the mail today, our fellow Rotarian and friend Bill Stasowitz sent me an article from The Economist, July 11th, 2020. And in the very first paragraph, they referencing do-goodery. So I think maybe some royalties are due here. So my check's in the mail as well. So keep looking and checking and waiting for that. So
Oh, definitely. Do-goodery.uk.
There you go.
Yeah.
There was a member, a guest we had today that was a president of the Rotary Club of Kintore, Kimney and District. Charlotte Duncan from North Scotland is joining today. Welcome. Her son lives and works in Gainesville, and I believe she put in the chat that her husband has visited our club before. So welcome and joining us today. And she also noted that she met you, Chris, twice, in 18 in Stratford Institute and in 19 in Hamburg. So small world, but hello. Speak up if you're there. Yeah, Charlotte, if you're there and you can speak up, say hello.
Hello, thank you. Thank you very much for your welcome. And it's really good to join you.
Well, thank you for being here.
I certainly will come back the next time I manage to get to Gainesville from Scotland. I certainly will come and visit you.
Well, very good. And well, you're welcome to Zoom in anytime as well. So as we mentioned, as we move forward next week, we're going to be bringing Rotarians back with the option to be here. And we're going to continue to have the option to Zoom based off of all this technology. So looking forward next week, our speaker will be Dr. Barbara Oberlander, and the topic will be Susan B. Anthony. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll look forward to next week. As we close out today, thank you again for the board members that are here today to help us get some feedback and tweak this out. Look out for an email from me this next week. You'll get some instructions. You'll get emails about RSVP and food selection for the upcoming week. If you choose to, remember that's an option going forward to eat or not. And look out for those things. And so I will close with a great quote tying in with today's message. How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. Anne Frank. And with that, my fellow Rotarians, have a great rest of the week and look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great